All right, y'all. So we got some heavyweights going at it. We got some secular talk heavyweights going at it. We have Marc Maron here, who I absolutely love, and he goes after Bill Burr. But not only Bill Burr, he's going after every single comedian who is taking part in this absolute sellout fest, taking blood money from Saudi Arabia to go do some comedy over there. So shout out to the Fried Plantain YouTube channel. Everybody go check them out because there's a great video here that breaks it down. Let's get it.
Well, there's a Riyadh Comedy Festival. I don't know if you heard about that. This is true. There's a Riyadh, Saudi Arabia Comedy Festival. I mean, how do you even promote that? You know, like from the folks that brought you 9/11, 2 weeks of laughter in the desert. Don't miss it. I mean, the same guy that's going to pay them is the same guy that paid that guy to bonesaw Jamal Khashoggi and put him in a fucking suitcase. But don't let that stop the yucks. It's going to be a good time. Full disclosure, I was not asked to perform at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, so it's kind of easy for me to take the high road on this one. Easy to maintain your integrity when no one's offering to buy it out, you know?
Saudi Arabia is set to host a major comedy festival in Riyadh, spanning late September through October, featuring some of the biggest names in international stand-up.
Can I just pause here to point out, if you look at the bottom left, fucking Bill Cosby. Now, this one is fake. This one is fake. People were like, you know, taking the actual lineup and photoshopping out like one or two different people and putting in like Bill Cosby for the lols. And that's fucking hilarious. But I think pretty much everybody else here is legit. Like Bill Burr, we know he's going. Louis C.K. is going. Andrew Schultz is going. Dave Chappelle is going. Kevin Hart is going. I love this one. Chris Tucker, who, I don't know if you guys know this, but for a while, he was buddy-buddy with Jeffrey Epstein. He's another one that's going. But, I mean, of course, the biggest letdown here is Bill Burr. I mean, Bill Burr, I mean, he was based as fuck. He was going on rants against billionaires and shit. You're going to see here that in the past, he had gone after comedians who sold out, even comedians that sold out to Gulf authoritarian dictatorships. And now, here he is. He's selling out.
Tom Segura, Bobby Lee, Aziz Ansari, Hannibal Buress, Dave Chappelle, Jimmy Carr, Pete Davidson, and others are on the lineup. The event is being promoted as part of Saudi Arabia's broader push to showcase itself as a cultural hub under its Vision 2030 initiative. Yet beneath the glossy marketing lies a controversy that has ignited debate across comedy circles, podcasts, and social media.
Guys, it's that special time of year. It's the Riyadh Comedy Festival. And all of your favorite comedians are performing at the pleasure of Turki Al-Sheikh. And he is the head of the entertainment authority over there. And he has so many people thrown in prison because they tweeted stuff he didn't like about the soccer team or whatever, that there's a wing of a prison nicknamed after him where they hang people by their heels from the ceiling. Now, there's a lot of drips, killjoys, and dweebazoids who are saying, they shouldn't do comedy over there because it's whitewashing a regime that just in June killed a journalist. And killed Jamal Khashoggi and played a big role in 9/11. Shut up. Name one comedian who hasn't whored themselves out to a dictator. Sinbad, in the 80s, would go perform for dying Nazis hidden out in Argentina. Mr. Bean would do private shows for Idi Amin. Me and Bibi Netanyahu have collaborated. I pitched him a prank show called The West Bank, where it's hilarious. Like, people in masks show up and eject people from their homes, and they're terrified. They just traumatize these families, and then they can never come home. And it's been going on for years, but this season has been like action-packed. And it's a prank show, but there's also a true crime element because it violates international law and people have been killed a lot. Let's not get our, moral panties yanked up, wedged high in our rumps. Human Rights Watch has been begging the comedians not to participate in the whitewashing of the horrors that are ongoing in Saudi Arabia. Ugh, what a cockblock Human Rights Watch is for comedy. Let's have some fun, let's have some yucks, and let's not look too closely at anything. I'm a hypocrite too.
I love that guy was good. If you know that guy's name, put it in the comment section below. Shout out to that guy. You've earned a new fan, good sir. I am a fan of your work. That's what comedy is supposed to be. This is punching up to the max. And it's a shame when some of the comedians who we thought would punch up are the ones who are selling out for blood money.
Human rights organizations have argued that the festival is an attempt to whitewash the country's poor record on free speech, political dissent, and the treatment of journalists. The event happens to coincide with the anniversary of the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, and Saudi courts continue to sentence writers and analysts to death for expressing opinions deemed offensive by the state. These realities cast a long shadow over the festival, raising questions about whether participation amounts to complicity in image laundering. Marc Maron has become one of the most vocal critics of the festival and of comedians who accepted invitations. In a recent appearance, he questioned how performers could even promote such an event given the political context. He highlighted the contradiction of comedians, long champions of free expression, choosing to appear in a country where speech can carry severe consequences. He also suggested that the decision to perform boils down to money, remarking that integrity is easy to keep when no one is buying it out.
There's just a moment in the documentary where you're just talking about, it's like, people say I'm jealous. It's like, yeah, of course. It's like somebody gets paid $100 million to, it's like, of course I'm going to feel something.
It's not that I want $100 million necessarily. No. It's just sort of like, who would get that kind of money for that?
Was anybody getting it?
And like, don't get me started about the Riyadh Comedy Festival. All these huge acts, I can name names, but you can just go look it up, were offered complete ridiculous amounts of the bloodiest money on the planet.
Yeah.
I can maintain this position. One, I wasn't asked.
Yeah, of course. That's always with me.
And I don't think I'd go. I know I wouldn't. But it's like, does history not matter at all? I mean, literally, it's like the Riyadh Comedy Festival from the guys who brought you 9/11. Do you know what I mean? It's like, is that just nostalgia? Your check's being signed by the guy that chainsawed a journalist.
And it's so crazy too, right? Because Tim Dillon, for example, he's seemingly like every other podcast he does, he's railing against Netanyahu and talking about the genocide in Gaza, which is great. I love that. Thank you, Tim, for doing that. That's awesome. But then he came out and said, he announced, I'm going to the Riyadh Comedy Festival. And he said they're paying me $375,000. And he did this whole little bit where he was like, doing Arabic chants and whatnot. And then apparently they fired him anyway because they didn't like him even mildly making fun of them on his podcast, but he got to keep some of the money. But like, does he not understand the problem with how he approached this? Like, I'm sorry, I no longer give a fuck what you have to say about Israel and Gaza because you were more than willing to take $375,000 from a government that's also doing a genocide. Saudi Arabia did a genocide in Yemen. The blood on their hands is fucking, it is fucking caked on extra thick, dog. You can't, I can't take your sanctimonious rants about how fucked up Netanyahu is when you're snuggling up to another one of the greatest butchers of our time. So that's the problem. It's like, don't you, it undermines anything and everything you would ever say, because I know you're just a walking billboard. You don't mean any of this shit. You don't believe any of this shit. You're a fucking walking billboard of a human. I can't take you seriously. Right? You undermine everything you're going to say from now until the end of time by selling out like that. And there's so few people in this space that refuse to fucking sell out. Marc Maron, thank God he exists, because I'm like, oh, thank God, at least there's fucking one comedian who's like, oh, I'm not. And by the way, I'm actually being unfair because there were actually a bunch of comedians who were offered and turned it down. So shout out to those people. It's kind of like people, we're getting these morality tests on a regular basis now. It happened in the world of golf when the Live Golf League popped up. That's all funded by Saudi Arabia. And basically, within the course of a year, you were able to figure out among pro golfers who has a moral compass and who has none whatsoever. You're able to tell just like that. All the ones who went to Live, bad people. Genuinely and sincerely. All the comics who went to fucking Saudi Arabia, bad people. You're just a bad person. Oh, I'm gonna, imagine fucking Goebbels gives you a call in 1939. Look, I'd love for you to come do a comedy fest here. And, assuming we knew what was going on and you said, yeah, it's like, well, that's fucking inexcusable. I'm sorry. You're just a whore. You're just a whore for cash. And the worst part is, a lot of these people don't fucking need it. The professional golfers didn't fucking need it. Bill Burr doesn't fucking need it, and he took it. It's so sad.
The backlash further is the irony surrounding Bill Burr. Years ago, he mocked the idea of comedians jetting off to dubious gigs for a payday, turning the concept into material about hypocrisy and selling out. Now he is doing exactly what he once ridiculed, a reversal that Maron and others see as emblematic of how financial opportunity can trump principle.
Because no one ever raises money for terrorists, right? I guess, unless you do a comedy show in Saudi Arabia. Isn't that what they do? That's how they raise money with their filthy fucking oil money.
Oh, what have you done? What have you done? So many people, man. So many people. It's so rare to just be principled and just be like, yeah, I don't take that. I don't take that money. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure I could go right now to fucking one of the gambling websites and they'd offer me $5 million to sponsor my show. I told them to go fuck themselves. I've literally never had a conversation with an advertiser. I've been doing this show full time since 2012. I've never once talked to an advertiser or done an ad read. Why? Because what I say has to matter. What I say has to mean something. I don't want to have people above me who can fucking pull the puppet strings. Oh, say this, don't say this, not allowed to say that, tread lightly on that. That's fucking bullshit. Especially doing what I do, which is news and political commentary, you need to know that you're hearing what I actually believe, right? It can't be like, what are the weird, nefarious influences on this person? And it's just so rare. It's just so fucking rare.
Shane Gillis reportedly declined to participate, citing discomfort with the politics involved.
Shout out to him. Shout out to Shane Gillis.
Initially agreed to perform, but was allegedly dropped after making jokes critical of Saudi leadership and human rights abuses.
My agent called me and he goes, you said on Joe Rogan that you were performing in Abu Dhabi and you're actually performing in Dubai. They're cities and they have a rivalry. And I go, dude, who gives a fuck? What do I stop? I made a mistake. This is not a malicious slander. It's a mistake. He goes, well, they're very angry and they sent an email that you need to be controlled. I said, well, good luck. Whatever. I don't have to do it. I don't care. And then he called me a few days later and I thought he was going to talk about the Kimmel thing. But he called me and he said, they heard what you said about them having slaves. And I said, I was being positive about it. I was defending them. He goes, well, I know that. I know you were defending them. I said, I was defending them for having slaves. I literally said, slaves are probably hard workers and, for the most part, agreeable.
The debate over the Riyadh Comedy Festival underscores a broader ethical tension. One side argues that by performing in Saudi Arabia, comedians lend legitimacy to a regime that suppresses free speech and punishes dissent.
Yeah, that side is correct. One side is right, the other side is wrong.
Effectively becoming part of its propaganda machine. The other side insists that art and comedy transcend politics, that reaching audiences in restrictive societies can be valuable, and that the decision to perform should remain a personal one, not a moral referendum.
Oh my God. That reminds me of when people went to Live Golf, they would say, oh no, it's not because they're offering me a contract of $50 million. No, it's because we need to grow the game. We have to grow the game of golf, and I think this new golf venture is going to help more with that. That's like, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Oh, comedy must transcend barriers, and that's why I'm doing it, is to spread the good word and make people laugh and bring us together. No, bitch, you're doing it for the $1 million paycheck for fucking 2 days of work. That's what you're doing it for. God, they're so dishonest. Jesus Christ.
Ultimately, the controversy is not just about one festival, but about what it means for comedians to claim authenticity and freedom of speech while accepting lucrative opportunities in places where those very freedoms are denied. Maron's criticism, paired with the visible contradictions of figures like Burr, has ignited a discussion that stretches far beyond the comedy world. It forces fans and performers alike to reckon with whether art can truly remain separate from politics, or whether participation in events like these inevitably carries the weight of complicity.
Art can transcend politics. You just have to force it to. You just have to be committed to whatever your principles are. If you cave on your principles, you're a sellout. That's like the definition of selling out. And unfortunately, it's just so fucking rare. Again, thank God, Marc Maron. And look, we all love Bill Burr. I mean, I had done maybe 5 to 10 segments on Bill Burr, and every single time he's saying something based. He seems to understand that the problem in this country, it's the billionaires, understands it's the fascists as well. And so, like, he's kind of right on the general politics of it. But then to see a guy like that, who's very preachy, and I mean that in a positive sense. Like, I'm preachy. I'm moralistic and preachy, but I think I'm being correct on the morals and correct on the preachiness. But when you proselytize morality and you're preachy, and then you fucking bend the knee and cuck yourselves to some of the worst criminals on the planet, you just lose a lot of respect in the eyes of everybody, you know? And that's the correct reaction. And so a lot of Bill Burr fans, myself included, or Marc Maron has hopped in front of everybody on the list, and he's now the GOAT. He's the GOAT of modern comedy, not only for this shit, but also for correctly targeting and going after all of the fucking frauds of the Rogan sphere who've destroyed comedy. All right, guys, that's the show, y'all. I love y'all very much. You guys know the drill. Everybody, please click like, click subscribe, click that bell icon so you get a notification every single time a video drops. You can support the show on Patreon. That means the world. Remember, this is real independent media, and there's very few of us out there. So that link is below if you'd like to help out. Thank you to everybody who does give $2 a month or $5 a month or $7 a month. That makes it so it's easy for me to say no to some fucking brand deals that are worth a shitload of money. It makes it easy. You know, you never see me, I'm gonna go do a politics festival in Saudi Arabia or Tel Aviv. Like, it's not gonna fucking happen. It's not gonna happen, nor should it with anybody in this space. But unfortunately, you never fucking know with a lot of the people in this space. But you could also support Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. Sign up for that below. Go sub to the Corn's World YouTube channel as well, where we do live Kyle and Corn episodes. Again, we have one tonight that you're not going to want to miss. Live, Kyle and Corin, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So I'll see you guys there. Peace. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.